in my head, and I definitely want to have a discussion if other people feel differently. The self-management programs that we have, the diabetes prevention, the diabetes self-management, the hypertension, especially those, sometimes they can be marketed as weight loss programs, but in reality, they're not. In reality, they're behavioral change programs where think of the action plans that people set in all the programs that we have, weekly action plans. I know the hypertension one in session 8, it really talks about what's your action plan, what are you looking forward to for the next 6 months. So thinking out 6 months. The diabetes prevention plan at the end, that last session, it talks about creating a vision board, which also helps with thinking about the long term. Um, and the results can be weight loss. I know the diabetes prevention program talks about, the 5 to 7% weight loss in that first 6 months, but it's the behaviors that our participants do that actually creates the change in their chronic condition, whether it be diabetes, whether it be type 2 diabetes, I mean, that's a diabetes program. The risk for type 2 diabetes, their hypertension, those are the things that actually create the change in their life, and lower their risk or improve their their chronic condition, whether it be high blood pressure, whether it be diabetes, um, or their risk for diabetes. So I just wanted to throw it out and what other people's thoughts were around that. Go ahead, Sarah. I saw your hand before I saw the virtual hand.
Yeah, this has come up we're only in session 2, and this has come up. And I have a participant who is already really in that hyper vigilant planning stage for losing weight and food, and talking about it. And I can visually sense from some other participants that it's making them two in particular are defending that they haven't lost any weight yet. Yeah. So I had to really reiterate the idea that this is not a weight loss program. And I felt like I opened my mouth and Walter came out, like, right? Wow. Or Melissa came out, or, the whole idea of weight loss is not a behavioral change. It is a result of some behaviors that you have done. Yep. So, yep. And I think that will have to be a constant in this group conversation.
Yeah. And we ask participants in the diabetes prevention program to weigh themselves, prior to every session, whether it be, the once a week, the every other week, or the once a month when we go down to that schedule. That is just to see the results of what they're doing. But, there's also non-scale results. How are you feeling going up the stairs? Do your clothes fit better? I was talking to someone today. It's like, that dress is a little snug, and it's my summer dress, and summer's around the corner, so I'm going to make some changes. So she increased her activity, and she also changed what she was eating. So she decreased, eating out so much, or, the sweets that she was having. She went to carrot chips, raw carrot chips. She has this slicer that she loves to do carrot chips. And I think she blanches them just a little bit, make it a little softer, but they were really thin. She showed me. So it's those changes that result in the weight loss, result in the change in the scale. And I'm conscious of this too, as far as I focus on the number on the scale and why is that not changing, instead of putting the focus on all the different behaviors that result in a change in the scale. Stacy.
I'm wondering if the focus changed to weight loss or obesity, that then would we lose some of the participants because they're like, well, that's not why I'm here. I want to get my blood sugar down. And then I think we had one of these workshops where we were trying to get away from that body stigma. So I don't think that's a good idea, just in my own opinion.
Just let me clarify, what's not a good idea?
If we, and maybe I misunderstood that, if we made it like a weight loss program
Oh,
or,
right.
yeah, or the
Yeah.
focus is to lose weight.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, definitely. It's not a weight loss program. A weight loss is a result of the behaviors that happen during the program. And that's why it's such a small amount, especially in the diabetes prevention program. People walk in and go, 10 pounds if I'm 200 pounds in 6 months? Really? And we can share that, especially in that session 0 or the session 1, when it's fresh in people's mind, and reiterate it, throughout some of the sessions, that's a result of what you're doing. It's changing what you're eating. It's the activity that you're doing that helps to lower that blood sugar. It also makes your body function in a healthier way. I was trying to think of the right terms for that. So where your body can produce or take care of the nutrients that it should in a way, and doesn't store it as fat or blood sugar or something like that. All right, Caitlin, and then Melissa.
Yeah, interestingly, Stacy, like to your point, I think if we marketed this as a weight loss program, we'd be overrun with interest.
Yep.
I'm not, that's not what the program is, or really the focus, of course, but I think from a marketing standpoint, we make it a bit harder for ourselves. It's certainly been suggested to us in the past that we take more of a lose weight approach to marketing and promoting the program. From an enrollment perspective, I can say when I talk to folks about the program and they mention wanting to lose weight, or sometimes people will ask, will I lose weight? That's what my doctor says. What the conversation generally that we have is that the program is not a diet or a weight loss program, but it will help you. And this is coming from me being a very loud voice about being anti-weight stigma and wanting to promote the idea that it's okay to not lose weight all the time or have that be your focus. But at the same time, if that is something that people are interested in, I talk to them about how the program does support them in the behaviors that could cause weight loss in a healthy and sustainable way. Because I always like to say, like, weight loss is a euphemism. What does it mean? When you say you want to lose weight, what does that mean? What are you going to do? What's the point, right? You ask all those questions to get at it. And if you want to change your body composition, there are things you can do to increase your muscle mass and lose body fat in theory. And the program does support that. It's kind of a boring answer, I think, compared to, yeah, you're going to lose tons of weight, right? But I think that helps people start to reframe how they conceptualize or think about weight loss and their health. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, do you want a football player to be 100 pounds and be a linebacker, or do you want that football player to be like close to 300 pounds? It's what they're, and they're the 100-pound or the 300-pound could be at risk for type 2 diabetes, depending on how their body processes food and what they consume and things like that. I mean, the bodybuilder, I mean, the linebacker could be eating a high protein diet, and his A1C could be 5.6, and the 100-pound person could be consuming 20 donuts a day, and to go into the extreme here, and they could have a 6.3. Exactly. Skinny does not equal healthy. Exactly. So, all right, Melissa.
Yeah, I was just going to share that the way I've approached this, because in my current group, I have 2 people that are really focused on, very focused on preventing diabetes. Diabetes runs in their family. They've seen what it has done with various family members. And then there's one person who is really hyper focused on losing weight. And so we have a little bit of a different approach from those 3 different people. And what I've said in this group several times is that if you follow the program as it's laid out, with the increase in activity and the decrease in calories, odds are likely that it will result in weight loss. But it's also very much likely and been proven that it will help prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes. And then I share my story of my favorite participant, Robert, who started with us at 272, left us after a full year of attending almost every single session at 270, but his blood sugar went from 6.4 to 5.3, and his doctor was blown away. So it wasn't really about the weight loss, it was about the health improvement. But I think just the fact that his doctor was blown away tells us all that we are so tied with weight equals health, and loss of weight equals improved health, and gaining weight equals reduced health. And so it really helped turn that provider around. But so I tried to navigate sort of by saying, this is your program, it is what you make of it. If you're looking to improve your type 2 diabetes risk, that will likely happen. If you're looking to lose weight and you follow these, guidelines, that will likely happen. But, as a program and as a conversation, we're not going to focus on weight loss. So I don't know if that helps at all, but that's how I've been navigating that sort of, like, you're going to have different people coming to the group for different things.
Sure. Yeah. And as our facilitators, we can ask that question. What will losing weight, what will be the benefit of that for you? Will your doctor be happy? Will you be happy? Will you fit into clothes that you have in your closet that's been hanging there for 10 years that you go, someday I'll wear that? Is it you want to be more active with your grandkids and be able to get off the floor without going, making a terrible sound, because you just can't get up as much as you could before. So yeah, it's the open-ended question. It's like, what will that benefit you if you're that? I mean, I had one person who said to me, because I wanted to be a certain weight, she goes, why that number? And I had to really think about it. I couldn't get an answer right then and there, but it's like, what is that number for me? What does that number represent for me? And it's like, okay, then thinking a broader picture is like, am I going to be healthy then? Am I going to be able to do the functioning that I want to do? Cynthia, the wonderful Cynthia.
Oh, the wonderful Walter. I think, to reiterate, I think Melissa and I were thinking along the same lines. Some people don't lose weight. Some people don't need to lose weight. Or some people could lose some weight, but they don't. But we hear from a lot of people who they go to their annual physical and their A1C is down, their cholesterol is down. There's all these other benefits. And I think what's tricky for the facilitators is, first of all, it's so important to remind everybody that we came here to reduce our risk of diabetes. And I think the program does that well several times with the different sessions where we go back and remind there's the session with the father and the son, and you compare, one has diabetes, one doesn't. And then at the end, one of the last few sessions, we talk about it again. But to remind people that they didn't come there specifically to lose weight, they came there to reduce their risk of diabetes. And I think it's hard for the facilitators because we start out by giving them a weight loss goal. And so and I know that recently, because we've had these conversations, recently the program is pulling back from the focus on weight loss, which I think is great, because it's really on the focus should be healthy living. But it really puts the facilitators kind of in a quandary of, I'm telling you to weigh yourself every week and to track to lose that 5 to 7% of your weight. But then I'm also telling you, we're not here to lose weight. We're here to just make healthy choices. So I think we just have to be aware of that and just keep reminding them that for many people, making the healthy choice is going to result in weight loss. But you didn't come here to lose weight. You came here because you're at risk for diabetes.
Yeah, and before I go to Sarah, it's, what can you measure? Because you can't have a A1C except for every 3 months. So unless you go to your doctor at 3 months and 6 months, and how can you measure that on a weekly basis? So that's, and especially blame the CDC.
Well,
yeah.
Fasting blood glucose, if we gave them
fasting
a
blood glucose.
glucometer.
Yeah, but sometimes that's hard if somebody doesn't have a glucometer or a CDM at home. There has been successes, I do have to say. There was a study done that I saw that they gave participants in the diabetes prevention program continuous glucose monitors, CGMs, and they were actually able to see a success with that because it was the food intake or the stress or the lack of activity that they were able to see. Oh, I ate that bagel, with that, and boy, did my glucometer give me an alarm, kind of thing like that. So that was kind of an indicator, but there's really no other concrete measurable way to measure progress except for the weight for right now. And the diabetes prevention program starts off with physical activity to get people moving first. And people, because I've seen it, and you've probably seen it in some of your programs, people are chomping at the bit. I hate to use that term, sorry. People are excited and they want to know, when are we going to talk about food? And we don't talk about food until week 4. It's like, oh, okay, here's food. Because it really gets them thinking about how much movement really indicates. And Sarah, I'm getting to you. I had one participant, and I think it was in one of the newsletters that Jen does a great job about putting out. It was managing stress module. And he said, I didn't eat anything. I was having a stressful day and my CGM went up. My glucose went up. He says, I realized, and he had so much passion about that he was kind of a quieter person within the group. But that module, boy, did he share, and his passion was coming out. It's like I had this epiphany. He didn't say that word, but it's like I had this moment where it's like stress. That's what's doing it for me, is the stress in my life, because he really wasn't an overweight person at all. I think he ended up releasing, and that's my term. Instead of losing weight, I say release, because you don't want it back. Lose something, you kind of want it back. Releasing it, it's gone. You've bye-bye kind of thing. So, but his A1C was able to go down in the program. So, yeah. Sarah.
Okay, what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to when we did the session 1, we not only talked about weight, I don't know if I was supposed to do this or not, but I talked about a little bit about how they wanted to create their own why for taking the program, and it didn't need to be tied to the weight piece. And it could be about how you're going to feel or what else you're going to be able to do at the end. Like, why are you really taking this program? What's your vision? What's your guiding light that's going to pull you through? So.
Yeah. I mean, that sticks to the fidelity of the program, I got to say. Your why. Why are you here? What do you want to get out of this class together, and why? Some people join because they want a social outlet, especially during COVID. It's like we could Zoom with other people and meet other people. Some people do want to lower their risk. Some people want to lose weight, but finding out that why and the reason behind the why also, starting that conversation, it's a great add-in. Thank you for doing that. Melissa, we got 9 minutes left.
I just wanted to share, because I do see that there are some folks on here who maybe aren't DPP leaders, that we did open this up and make it a non-DPP specific facilitator group. But occasionally there's just going to be a heavy DPP topic because things are coming up. So thank you for being here. Sorry if this one doesn't necessarily pertain to you, but if you have any questions, please feel free to add them to the conversation. And the other thing I wanted to share, just DPP while we're on it, is that Walter and Cynthia and I met last week, and we're working on going through with a fine-tooth comb both the participant manual and the facilitator guide to find all the broken links and give you an alternative. So our goal is to get that done by the first week in June, and then we can share it with you next time we see you and with all the facilitators, so that way that won't be a question any longer. And I thank you to Sarah Duffy, who just started leading the workshop and had a really great question. But in session 2, there is a 12-minute march. And so, Walter, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, but I thought it was such a great conversation that we might want to bring it here too.
Yes. So hopefully I can fill in what we actually talked about in the email thread. So Cynthia and I thought about this. 12-minute march for participants in week 2 can be very daunting. It's like, okay, is this all going to be about activity? Uh, week 2, is it week 2 or week 3? I usually play Justin Timberlake troll movie, Can't Stop the Feeling. It is, you can't but just tap your foot to that or get up and move. So, and it's like 4 minutes long, I think it is. And it gets the idea of concept of you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to have a lot of expensive equipment. You can just move when you want to and make it fun. And it gets the idea of movement with people. And if people, can't do that, they can wave their arms or things like that. I had one participant who used to walk around her living room, dining room, kitchen, back to the living room. In some cases, she said, I would go to the bathroom, just go walk in the bathroom, and that was her routine, especially in the winter. And she would do that, and she would get like 2,000 steps. I mean, it's like 2,000 steps from just doing that, So, yeah, I mean, use what's fun. Make sure if you're on Zoom to share with sound. There's a little button for that, because I will tell you, I did that my very first time that I used Justin Timberlake, and I was dancing around, and I got done and said, "Wasn't that a nice session? A nice sound?" And people went, "We didn't hear the sound at all." And I went,
I did that too.
"Yeah." I did have a couple of people who Googled it actually to be able to hear the sound. Yeah, so the idea of getting movement in, because I think one's 12 and I think the other one is the other one 20 minutes? It's been a while since I looked at it, but it seems long. And if you do that
Even
12
3
minutes,
minutes is a long time.
yeah, if you do that whole time, and I think we're sticking to the fidelity of the program is the idea of movement and how to get movement in. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing you can do with the group is share, and I used to ask this question of participants. I think I asked this question. Um, think about a time when you were a kid. What kind of movement or what kind of activity did you like to do? Biking, snowball fights, out in the woods, things like that. And you should just see the energy open up in people of something that they did as a kid that just and then you pull into the present and go, okay, how can you have fun with activity now? So bringing past successes and past fun in to the present, say, okay, how can I have fun? All right, we got a couple of hands here. Stacy. There you go.
Okay, so bringing past fun into an adult doesn't always help, because there was hopscotch on the on a sidewalk, and I did that, and I was dying. I was like, oh my Lord, like my legs were yeah. So anyway, I wanted to just switch the topic for a minute to
Sure.
hypertension.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wondered why don't we have a pre-hypertension workshop? Like, why do people already have to have hypertension? Like, that's kind of a bad thing. Like, I
Sure.
know we accept people that don't, but shouldn't there be a preventative program?
I think so too.
Yeah, I can
And
answer that too.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead, Walter. Too.
and I gotta say, when I first was doing the diabetes self-management and the diabetes prevention, I was chomping at the bit. It's like we need a hypertension because the hypertension from statistics a few years back, about 8 to 10% of Vermont citizens, adults, are have type 2 diabetes, but 34% or 35% have high blood pressure or hypertension. So it's like, and we finally got this program. But yeah, I would love to see a pre-hypertension program too. Melissa.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say right now, we're allowing anybody, so whether you have hypertension, you're at risk of developing hypertension, you can join it. But if anybody hears about a specifically pre-hypertension like prevention workshop, let me know. We do have to offer things that have been tested and are evidence-based. But we're always open to exploring anything anybody finds. So if there's one out there that we know of, or if anyone hears of one, please send it my way.
Cynthia.
Caitlin asked in the chat about other resources. I've used marching band music, like 76 trombones or something that you'd hear a marching band, and I used it with one class, and 2 or 3 people spoke up and said they were so excited because they had been in a marching band when they were in high school, and they got reminiscing about how much fun it was to be in a band. And I had no experience with a band, and it was just fascinating to hear their memories of being in the school band. And then they realized that they had that in common, and it was just funny how I just happened to pick that song, and that just like with the hopscotch, Stacy. And I tried jumping rope. We used to do that when we were kids all the time. I'm lucky if I can get it around one time. Oh, it's hard, those kids' games, but they bring back great memories.
Yeah. How many hips would go out of place if we all played Twister again?
Oh my God. And fell down and couldn't get back up.
911 call. What happened? We were playing Twister. Melissa, one more minute. Anything else?
Not from me.
That's for
Anyone
you.
else?
Yeah.
I would just say, I guess nothing for me, but I'm so happy there's so many people here. This is fantastic. And I just thank you all for coming and showing up and continuing to come, and new people are coming each time. So what a great group. Really robust conversation. Thank you.
Pam.
Just a question. I'm finishing up my diabetes self-management class. I have a few people with, I'll use the word, some learning disabilities. Very excited. They came with a helper, which is wonderful. And the helper wanted to know if there is a certificate of achievement, that because they're going to give her a little celebration. I was wondering, is there one out there that I could possibly print out for her?
I think Caitlin's.
I'll send it over to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Oh, good. Nice, Caitlin. Thank you for taking a note about that participant. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it might be good to give to other people, participants. Maybe that could be some of our standard practice. They get certificate.
I think pre-COVID, Walter, we have certificates of completion. And I think what used to happen pre-COVID is that people just got them printed out. They'd kind of fill them out in the last session and hand them out. But since we've gone virtual, it's definitely something that's fallen by the wayside. But I love the idea of getting back into that. So what I can do is actually just share with this meeting invite, because all of the facilitators are on here. I can share the certificate of completion, and then you're welcome to print it out or to make it digital. They're fillable PDFs. And there's 2, one for workshops that require 1 facilitator and 1 for workshops that require 2. But I'll send that out afterwards. And then if anybody has any questions about it, just let me know.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Anything else? I think our June schedule is okay. I don't think that ties into anything. Let me just look real quick. Probably be June 16th. That's not a holiday, right? June 16th, June 19th is. But I don't think June 16th is. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. We're a couple of minutes late. I appreciate all your time and all your efforts with making Vermont healthier.
Everyone, have a great
Bye,
day.
everybody.
Bye.